So we have Milton Chen, CEO of Vsee, to share his story of founding, growth, and pivot. And this fireside will be moderated by Menka, Managing Editor at E27. Milton and Menka, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Today we have with us Milton Chen, CEO Vsee. A little bit about him. Milton has done his PhD from Stanford University, and he has built a video chat platform for the International Space Station. Today we are going to talk about investment, funding, and much more. Before that, a quick overview by Milton.
Sure, thank you so much. So we're famous for building the video chat and telehealth system for the International Space Station. Everything for astronauts, they're done by our company. So what our company doing is a telehealth system that involving video, involving these sort of data integration like the Fitbit, the iHealth, plus a number of workflows. Like whole idea how do you scale up telemedicine network in a large way. And over the last couple of years, our company has been pivoted a bunch of times. We got a chance to meet with just work with a bunch of interesting people. So I'll be sharing with some of our findings, how maybe we call startup ventures. It was interesting of all the different people we have worked with. We're probably the most difficult to get is probably having 2 US Secretary of Defense in our office at the same time, which is actually really, really rare. But turn out our picture with a Snoop Dogg that got us a lot more interest there.
Perfect. So a quick fireside. So my first question to you is, you've raised investment from Salesforce.com via cold mail. How did you manage to do that?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Salesforce. Mark Benioff, he wrote a book on about marketing and funds. I will highly recommend this. So inside the book, he has email. So I just wrote him a cold email. And then he actually responded within about 12 hours. Then about later, he used Vsee, just called me out of the blue. I think he was in Hawaii. Then I was a little shocked. I saw Mark Benioff on the video. I said, the scramble a little bit. Then 3 months later, the money wire into our account. There was actually no investment pitches, it was purely just a demo. One thing over the past couple of years, I cold email a bunch of big names from like Amazon's Jeff Bezos, Craigslist, all these are just cold email. And what I find is cold email to the biggest guy actually really work. You could guess their email address very easily. The key thing is write an email to them Friday or Saturday midnight, their local time. And the email should have, the subject line should have 5 to 6 words. And the actual content should be a 1-line icebreaker, 2 to 3 sentences of what is it, then followed by a quick call to action. You want them to invest or something. You have something that's, again, we did a bunch of experiment tweaking these contents in there. Turn out, from our experience, that works really, really well. And we've been just able to at least get success these sort of just random, the biggest names out there.
All right, so you give tips to on how they can reach out to the big guys. Anything more you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I think from the investment perspective, yes, we did 2 rounds of investment in there. We pitched with a lot of the big names out there, and we were just shot down by all of the big ones. Just to share maybe something maybe more openly, pretty much all the big names, Sandhill, so they actually say no to us. Even some of the big ones, things like Google Venture. And it was interesting, we did this pitch, and the person just thought, well, telemedicine, no good doctor will do telemedicine, and from there everything down the road. So again, for pitching a little bit is I think just brute force the volume, right? Once you talk to enough people in there, then you can find some folks who really want to interesting back you. And actually, I don't think you need to have these sort of crazy fancy PowerPoint slides in there. So you get, at least our experience, really just create something really interesting product, and the people who's going to invest in you could see the value of that, and then at least our investment experience literally just purely by demo and couple conversations.
So asking a contrary view, do you think it's sometimes better to not have funding?
I think you probably see a bunch of startup when they raise a lot of money, they have some bad habits. Bad habits as though they start squandering money. There's like some famous example. I don't want to you probably know all those. But having said that, try to do a startup without money is really tough in there. I would say for my personal, maybe some of the, like maybe a really big mistake, kind of like two of my big mistakes is I didn't raise enough money. In our 2 round of investment, in both times, the investor came in, they want to give us like 2 to 3 times more money than initially thought. Then in the end, we decided not to take that much money. And both time was really a mistake in there because our company was founded in 2008. That's like dinosaur, like a startup. And we were to try to get things going. And our projection was just wrong. Right? Like we thought we were going to have this nice rosy scale up. We couldn't. And it ended up, right, you're running out of money. It was just really like hard. So I would say is if you had the opportunity to raise money and get a boatload of money, you should definitely do it. And of course, even raise money, just still be lean and not like squander it, versus just doing the other way. Just like, yeah, it's tough without money.
So when does one know when is the right time to raise money?
I mean, I think you probably should be raising money constantly in there. So raising money is a distraction, right? The typical rule of thumb, right? If you do a typical venture round, you're talking between 9 to 16, 15 months from first contact to money in there. Again, when most of the investors, right, they're very nice. They don't want to say no to you, but they don't want to take the risk until early stage. They tend to just drag on the process over again in there. So in that case, it's a very time-consuming process in there. So I would say you should be always looking for money, the partners, but at the same time, maybe like your core value is about building a company that creates value. As you're gaining traction on there, investors will come to you with really exciting stuff from there.
So do you think it can be disastrous if you have it before time, if you have funding before time?
I mean, I think it's probably some bad habits. Our board of directors was very against raising too much money in there. So again, they built tons of company in there. Again, they were really worried about having the bad habits. So for my personal experiences, we just gone through many years of just really tough, right? How do you meet payroll? You're looking at your revenue is not growing. You're like your bank account is going down like this. That's really stressful in there. So that's why I would say if I could do it over again, I would definitely like take the money in there. It's like, yeah.
Talking about Vsee, it's been around a long time. Why do you think it's still not a household name?
Yeah, so I mean, I think at the top level is I just didn't know what I was doing. I mean, to internally, I'll say is, I'm looking back is there were just really very dumb decisions I made. It was my naiveness on my part. Because my background, I did my PhD at Stanford. I was just into design, into programming. So I didn't have much, I would say, zero business experience. There are a bunch of things I have to learn in there. I would say 2 of the top mistakes. One is not raising enough money. Then another one is I didn't understand distribution. So for example, Peter Thiel's book talk about how you go from 0 to 1. So we spend a lot of time thinking about how do you go from that. So we're pretty good at, once we have that first contact with someone, you engage with them. So this is one of the reasons we've done a bunch of the biggest projects around. But when you go from 1 to N, how do you scale the business? That was something I didn't understand in there. So for example, some of the method, if I could roll back time in there, right? So we had an opportunity to use things like Skype, Facebook, all these as a platform to distribute the system. That was something I didn't understand in there. So if we had done that, the outcome would be very different. And now the problem with those distribution channels always is the distribution channel is only available for a short amount of time because as soon as it becomes effective, everyone uses that same distribution channel. That platform will wrap that down. So if you look at, for example, like Living Social, right? They phenomenal growth out of Facebook, but that whole same mechanism wouldn't work anymore. So again, that was something I just didn't understand, from the search engine optimization to all these things. So again, just how do you distribute the service? Again, so for us, our challenge has been just, we find is it's not, there's no magic formula. It's not like you hear a talk, you say, okay, oh, that's something, it's going to work for me. But chances are, if you hear someone talk about it in the events like this, chances are that mechanism may not work anymore because too well known. So it's your job to actually discover what are do the experiment to figure out the distribution channel that should work for you. So again, so we've been struggling the past couple of years. How do you distribute? How do you able to spread out the VC?
So you spoke about the mistakes that you made. So what are the two things you would have done differently, and what is the plan going forward?
Yeah, I think the couple of mistakes in there that I think another one I didn't understand is really about marketing. Marketing in the sense of product market fit. So when VC was starting out, we're focused on enterprise collaboration. So our vision was to transform how society works. So you find the whole product, but you guys are welcome to go to vsee.com. It's a free download. In there you could try to use it for your internal work. But the problem with that is we didn't have enough the right enterprise features for people to embrace. Turn out that what we found our sales cycle is, for example, a group within the big, large enterprise, you will find VC very useful. Then as a deployment scale up, IT would shoot us down because we didn't have the right enterprise features. I was a little bit naive coming from the design background. I was thinking, okay, like you have a great design, long as the end user love your system, then you'll win. That turned out for the enterprise collaboration, it doesn't work. The IT is very powerful. They will block that out. So our revenue was just like flat in there, a couple $1 million in there. We're just like flat. We just couldn't. We were doing all sort of stuff. But we couldn't scale this out in there. And then we pivoted to healthcare. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. The reason we pivoted again is we were just not gaining enough traction on the enterprise side. Then we noticed about 50% of our sales leads were actually from healthcare, and I knew zero about healthcare. Then as we analyzed the market, we find that by pivoting VC to our telehealth options, we actually is a much better product market fit in there. And there's also some very large dynamics in terms of like Obamacare in the US versus is transforming the healthcare. There was a huge mega money behind there. And now we're being very fortunate now we're leveraging, like writing that coattail. I guess some of our name customers are some of the biggest name in there. And one of the reasons we were able to get them because as the market was transforming, we had the right features for that. And then we've been pretty happy with our pivot so far.
Perfect. My next question is very close to me because I work remotely out of India. So VC has a entirely remote team. So how do you keep workers motivated and working efficiently? How do you manage to do that?
Yeah, thanks for the question. It definitely is. This is our initial vision for VC. We created VC was to transform how people work. So our company is about 40 people in there. We're distributed pretty much all over the place. In fact, in Asia, we have about 20 people. We have 6 people in Singapore. In fact, a year ago, we decided to go, even in our Silicon Valley office, go completely officeless in there. What we find is it gave us a huge productivity gain. Our internal estimate is we get about 2 to 3x the productivity of purely remote work versus office. Again, you treat your office, right? You go there, you're tired, all these things. And what we find the key thing is you have to have the right tools and the management and team structure to make virtual team work. And the key thing is everybody has embraced it. If you have some people go to an office, some people remote work, that tend to create a second-class citizen in there. Then the second thing we find is really important to find people who does not like to be micromanaged, right? So we have to unfortunately let go of some people. They're very smart, but they like to be a structured environment in there. So that actually wouldn't work. What we find is if you love people who actually love that entrepreneur, they love to do things in there, that tend to work out great. And then what we do is add a bonus to motivate our team is, so because we're not paying rent on the office anymore, so we use that same money to do purely fun stuff. So for example, this Friday, we're flying our Asia team to Bali for a week-long vacation. We're flying their family member. We're like flying about 40 people to Bali. Again, that's actually the money turn out that is it's easily coming out from rent money. Again, just create very just dynamic work environment. Again, it's a productivity gain, which is huge for us.
Great. That's awesome news. Are people hearing that? He's flying people to Bali for a week-long vacation? Isn't that awesome? Yeah. Great. So that's all we have time for. And thank you, Milton. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you for the insights. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Milton and Menka. So just a quick announcement, at 11 a.m. at the Samruk Kasnia room, we have the startups from Kodra, which are the Korean startups who will be pitching. So if you're interested in